something clings to the corner of your garage every night. Long legs, still body. It barely moves unless disturbed, and even then, it does something strange, trembling in place without retreating. Most people reach for the nearest shoe without thinking. Most people learn to do exactly that from someone who also never stopped to ask what they were actually looking at. The creature you have been killing for years is one of the most misidentified animals in North America. The story attached to it, the one that has moved through school hallways, family dinners, and backyard conversations for at least 3 decades, was built on a mistake so simple that correcting it should have taken a single afternoon. It did not. Millions of people believe something about this animal that arachnologists established as false long ago, and the correction has never caught up. Before we get into what is actually in your garage, you need to understand that the name Daddy Longlegs has been doing 3 entirely different animals a simultaneous injustice for generations. A crane fly, a cellar spider, and a harvestman have all been filed under that single name. They belong to different branches of the animal kingdom. They consume different things, and what is demonstrably true about one is frequently untrue about either of the others. Knowing which one is on your ceiling changes the entire calculation. If this story is touching your heart, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And if a woman in your family came west with nothing and built a home, share her name in the comments. I read every one. The Harvestman is the animal most people picture when they hear the name. It is not a spider. It belongs to the order Opiliones, a completely separate branch of arachnids that diverged from true spiders hundreds of millions of years ago. Where a spider carries 2 distinct body segments, the Harvestman has one fused oval. It produces no silk, builds no web, and carries no venom glands. It has 2 eyes mounted on a small raised turret at the center of its body, giving it a wide field of view while leaving it almost entirely reliant on evasion when predators find it. Harvestman fossils from the Devonian period put them on Earth roughly 400 million years ago. The specimens preserved in that ancient rock look nearly identical to what crawls across your garage floor tonight. They were alive in the Carboniferous swamp forests, among insects that no longer exist, among species and environments built from organisms that left no modern descendants. Every mass extinction in the geological record since then, every climate collapse, every continental rearrangement that rewrote the surface of the world, they outlasted it through a formula that needed almost no revision. They eat mites, fungus, decaying plant material, and small dead or weakened prey they can overpower. A harvestman moving through your garage is already working. Dead insects in baseboards, organic matter in corners untouched for months. The animal is not waiting to do something to you. It is processing what has accumulated in the places you have never thought to look. When threatened, a harvestman vibrates. The whole body trembles rapidly, legs blurring, making it appear larger and harder to target precisely. Researchers studying predator avoidance in arachnids have documented this as a reliable confusion response against birds and small vertebrates. That trembling you sometimes see when you disturb one is not distress. It is a defense that has been operating without interruption for 400 million years. Now, the venom myth. You have probably heard it stated as settled fact. The daddy longlegs is the most venomous spider on Earth, but its fangs are too short or too weak to pierce human skin. It spreads because it sounds exactly like the kind of counterintuitive biological detail that belongs in a nature documentary. It has one structural flaw. It attaches the word spider to an animal that is not a spider, and it attributes venom to a creature that produces no venom at all. Harvestmen have no venom glands. The biological mechanism does not exist in them. The myth is not an exaggeration of something real. It is a fabrication layered onto the wrong animal and repeated until it felt like established fact. The second creature in this category, the cellar spider from the family Fulcidae, does have venom and fangs. Arachnologist Greta Binford at Lewis and Clark College examined cellar spider venom directly and found no evidence of unusual potency against mammals. In 2004, Adam Savage of Mythbusters placed his arm against a cellar spider and was bitten on camera. His description was a faint burning sensation that faded within seconds. The story about deadly venom and untouchable fangs does not survive contact with actual data. What the cellar spider is doing instead was documented in 2003 by entomologist Rick Vetter at the University of California, Riverside. Cellar spiders hunt other spiders. They locate foreign webs, vibrate the silk to imitate a trapped insect, and wait for the resident to investigate. Vetter recorded cellar spiders attacking and consuming black widow spiders, not as isolated incidents but as a consistent and repeatable pattern. The spider you have been removing from your basement corner was hunting the spider you actually have reason to worry about. That loose, tangled web in the ceiling angle was a working trap. You were the one clearing it out. If you're still with us on this porch, do this story a kindness. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell. These quiet stories don't get told if you don't share them. Tag someone who loves a true frontier story in the comments. Let them know we're telling these the way they deserve to be told. Now consider what the myth has been costing you. A cellar spider in your basement is not clutter. It is active management in a space you rarely enter. Black widows and brown recluses operate by staying hidden in undisturbed areas and waiting for prey to wander close. Cellar spiders go looking. Researchers examining household arachnid populations have noted that spaces with active cellar spider presence tend to show fewer encounters with medically dangerous species, not because of any deliberate intervention, but because the predator-prey relationship is doing exactly what it developed to do. Every time you knock down that web, you erase what was working. Whatever had been managed in that corner starts from the beginning. The Harvestman near your foundation is handling something different but equally invisible. Research on Opiliones foraging behavior has established that individual Harvestmen cover substantial ground through an active season, consuming mites, small insects, and decomposing organic debris as they go. Some mite species attack plant roots at a level you would not notice until the damage is established. Others move through decaying material and create conditions that allow other small pests to follow. A Harvestman working through the soil debris near your home is clearing a biological load that accumulates continuously and rarely gets addressed until it becomes something visible. The myth endured because fear moves faster than accuracy. When someone tells you that an animal is simultaneously the most venomous creature of its kind and physically incapable of harming you, the dangerous part is what sticks. The limitation is the detail that drops away. What remains is a rough filing. Spider adjacent, threatening, remove on sight. The origin of the daddy Longlegs venom claim is difficult to trace with any precision. It appears in American cultural use for decades before the internet gave it a more efficient distribution route. The claim was self-sealing in a way that made it nearly impossible to challenge through lived experience. If the animal cannot actually bite you, no one is ever going to test whether the venom story holds up. The limitation in the myth is its own protection. The result is that an animal performing a real function inside your home gets categorized as dangerous before anyone in the conversation has ever been harmed by one. Generations of people cleared a working pest management system from their basement corners based on a story no one tested and that the science has never found reason to support. The myth did not need to be accurate. It only needed to travel. Arachnophobia generalizes beyond taxonomic categories. Researchers studying fear responses have documented that the phobic reaction to spiders fires based on shape and movement rather than accurate identification. A Harvestman occupies the same rough silhouette as what the nervous system has already filed as a threat. The response activates before the identification finishes. The shoe moves, while the question of what is on the ceiling has not yet formed. So the creature that has been working your corners since before mammals existed gets removed at the exact moment it costs nothing to leave it alone. The Harvestman in your garage has been doing this, in this form, since before birds, before flowering plants, before the first vertebrates pulled themselves onto land. It was already in the margins of a world that looked nothing like this one, processing what had died, clearing what had accumulated, sustaining a system that was only beginning to understand what sustaining itself meant. It did not survive 400 million years by being conspicuous. It survived by filling a space nothing else was filling, and it has held that space through every catastrophe the planet has managed since. 400 million years of uninterrupted occupation of a space the world consistently overlooks. Almost nothing else alive can make that claim. The animal in the corner does not carry that history with any awareness. It does not know a myth circulated in its name, repeated across decades, and became the standard reason for its removal from every home it entered. It operates on the same instructions it has carried since the continent you are standing on had a different shape. It finds a corner. It does the work. Tonight, it is in the corner, the same job. Whether it continues is the one part of this it has never been able to decide. Thank you for staying until the last word. If this story moved you, the next one is already up on your screen. Go give it a watch. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and join the porch. We're telling stories about women who carried more than the world ever knew. See you in the next one.